Big breaking news that's coming in this morning. Sources telling India Today that Prime Minister Modi has called for another high-level meet on the Ukraine conflict. There is a possibility, and this is big news that's coming in, there's a possibility that some ministers from the government of India may go to neighbouring countries of Ukraine to personally be out there on the ground and to coordinate the evacuations. That'll be a big step that's taken by this government. If there is an announcement on that front, sources telling us here on India Today that the Prime Minister is holding and has called for a high-level meet, and they are discussing the possibility of some top ministers being sent to neighbouring countries to ensure that they coordinate on the ground the evacuations. Let's take this across to Gaurav Sawant, who's reporting from Kyiv. Gaurav, for India, there's been a huge focus on evacuating every single Indian national safely out of Ukraine. And, you know, there's a big development that's coming in on that front, with sources telling us that there's a likelihood that top ministers of the Modi government will be there on the ground in neighbouring countries of Ukraine to personally supervise this operation and deal with all the challenges that are currently there.
This is much required. This is need of the hour. They need to do this and a lot more, Akshita. This is a huge crisis that the government has on its hands. There are more than 16,000 Indian students. I have spoken to a number of students here. I get calls virtually every minute from parents in India who are saying, please help our children. They're in underground basements. They're in bomb shelters. They're hungry. They're thirsty. And situation is so bad in Kiev, Akshita. You know, I'm trying not to scare parents, but I do tell them ground realities. There are no taxis, there are no buses, there is no public transport, there is no metro system as of now, because metros are being used as bomb shelters. So how do children get out of their hostels? How do they get to the nearest railway station? How do they get to a bus station? There is absolutely no idea. Because of martial law, because of curfew, there are no buses that are plying. So you know, I've spoken to children, and just yesterday when we were coming out of the railway station, they were trying to rush to catch a train, and they said, we have they've walked 20 miles to get to the Vauxhall or the railway station here in capital Kiev to be able to take a train towards the Polish border. That's point one. Point two, they have no information about how to make it. Look, Government of India will help them the moment they get to the Polish border or they get to borders and fly them free back to India. But the problem is getting to those borders. There have been reports and that children are out in the open. Last night, the temperature was -4 degrees. You know, when we were coming out of a bomb shelter, it was -4 degrees. And children are out there for 24 hours, you know, in this extreme cold climate here, and then walking with their luggage. In some instances, one of the children who called me on the phone said, sir, we're actually literally burning some of our clothes to stay warm at night. So, you know, whatever they get, they're burning. If it rains, then there is nothing else you can pick up to do. Fortunately, past 24 hours, or at least last night, there was no shelling, no firing, so children could get out. The advice that they are being given is get to borders safely, but at borders they're also being ill-treated. And the moment Government of India steps in, the moment there are senior ministers of Government of India there in those countries, that will mount pressure on those countries to ensure that they treat Indian children and students and migrants and those who want to come back to India with respect, because looking after our children is, as of now, the biggest priority and should remain the biggest priority. We are you know, also trying to get to one of these shelters to be able to speak to children and get you the report on their plight on ground zero at this point of time, Akshita.
And that report, of course, will be a huge reassurance for parents who are, I'm sure, very worried about their loved ones, about their children being there currently stranded in Ukraine. Gaurav, the fact that, you know, students and Indian nationals are struggling right now to get to the border points is clear, because even you struggle to get to Kyiv with the situation as it is playing out right now in Ukraine. And you can only imagine how students with no help whatsoever are trying desperately to reach the government. But the biggest challenge they're facing, Gaurav, is to reach these border points, is to reach anywhere close to, you know, a Romania or any other country to be able to avail the MEA's help. What really can be done on that front? If you could give us a sense of how, you know, other countries are also dealing with their evacuations right now.
The Americans, we have told their people, do what you can. Their government will not be in a position to do much. They'd anyway ask their people to leave this country a week or 10 days ago. I saw a video of some Pakistani children who were saying that despite Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan being in Russia, there is not much that he's been able to achieve for the Pakistani children. In fact, Pakistani children too want to tie up with Indian children and get to the nearest border so that they are able to cross over safely. The biggest challenge remains, how do you walk? It's a huge country. How do you get to the nearest railway station with no taxis, no buses, no private vehicles on roads because of a curfew, because of martial law? Any vehicle that's seen on the road, the security forces, and now it's not just the army, it's not just the police, it's also local militia. Because people are seen with so much suspicion, it is feared that so and so could be a Russian spy, or so and so could be taking a picture and then broadcasting those pictures to Russians. Such is the fear in this war. There's conflict that is on, that people are suspicious about everyone. Anyone could either be very nervous, someone could be trigger happy, and once a life or limb is lost, there is no point taking that risk. And that is why even when parents call me and ask me, what should our children do? Should they remain in a basement or should they travel? My suggestion is, speak to the embassy. They are in a better position to advise which is a safer location to leave, and how, since we are also traveling from point A to point B in exactly the same environment as these young children. So the situation does remain extremely precarious, and the hope is that in this lull, people will be able to get to train stations and go towards the Polish border. Government working at borders to ensure that children are not ill-treated at borders and are able to cross over would be a great help too.
Gaurav, I'm sure you're helping everyone who reaches out to you. We here at India Today will also do everything we can to help all those Indians who are reaching out to us currently stuck in Ukraine, and also put out all the information that comes out from the government on this front.